Welcome to it then. Welcome to another episode of The Sweet Spot, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Free Super Tips, your weekly dose of golf betting preview. Steve Palmer, as ever, is on the punter's bag. Steve, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm all right. It wasn't the greatest week ever, but it was no disaster. I just really wish they'd played another 18 holes in Singapore. It was a 54-hole event, the Singapore Classic, which we'll come on to. I think our return would have been bigger if they played another 18.
Yeah, a bit of a washout there, but we'll get on to all of that. You're here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. And among those comments, another push for questions for Steve. We've got the Q&A coming up in the lead up to the Masters. That will be in the Racing Post. If you want to know anything about Steve, drop it in the comments below. We'll pick it up. Some of the best, some that can be printed, the answers that can be printed as well. Will go in the Racing Post and lead up to the Masters. So do get involved. I've got one for you, Steve. What is Steve Palmer's go-to fry-up?
Go-to fry-up. Well, you sent me a lovely picture of your fry-up this morning. I was very jealous. Yeah, everything. The full package. Yeah. I just say to the chef, give me everything you've got. Yeah. I don't say no to anything, Dave.
Okay, right. In more ways than one, I'm sure. What have you been up to, Steve? Any darts?
Darts? No. Trying to stay away from the darts. I mean, we talked last week about building up the Masters pot, didn't we? So very important to have a large amount of stake money for the Masters. So yeah, you know me, Dave. Just gambling responsibly.
Of course, as ever, we encourage that here at the Racing Post. No dog parties, nothing. Not been anything happening, Steve?
No dog parties. The dog was just woofing at me before I came in today, so I've had to lock the dog away in the lounge because I think she would have disturbed this broadcast. But don't worry, dog fans. I'll go and stroke her as soon as we finished.
Okay, there was someone jumped in the comments asking. This obviously one won't go in the Q&A, but when was the last time you visited the pylon?
Yeah. The pylon's always there for me. Unfortunately, the dog I got, I always had dreams of taking a dog to the pylon, so I didn't look like such a weirdo hanging out by the pylon, just getting over golf setbacks. But unfortunately, it's up quite a big hill, and Coco is a very little dog and just refuses to race. You know when you back a horse and it refuses to race. There's nothing worse, is there? But yeah, Coco just pulls on the lead and doesn't want to go up the big hill. She's not got a lot of stamina. So I probably should have bought a sort of golden retriever or something that would have bound up the hill. So yeah, I don't get to the pylon as much as I used to, but maybe that's a good thing. We've got to use other coping mechanisms.
Yeah, I think you'd probably look even more strange if you were at the pylon and forced your dog to be there rather than just being a man on his own.
Well, that's it. I sometimes have to carry Coco when she refuses to race. And I look a bit like Paris Hilton. Do you remember Paris Hilton used to used to carry her little pooch around? And yeah. So yeah. Coco is not the dog that I expected her to be, but maybe she'll get bigger and stronger over time.
Well, I'm sure you're not carrying Coco around in a handbag as well, Steve. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Right? Shall we? Let's look back then before we look forward. We will start with the Singapore Classic, which was won by Richard Mansell, 16 under. Nakajima, you gave a big mention to. Your man McKibben, they're all in the frame. Sadio as well. 29-year-old maiden DP title. And I think we were looking at a hell of a two-putt to win it at the end. I think it probably would have taken me about 5 putts to get down from where he was. But it was some finish.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, old Nigel, we always used to call him old Nigel, didn't we? After Nigel Mansell finally got the job done. It reminded me a bit of Maverick McNeely because we backed Maverick McNeely a million times, gave up on him, then he won. Similar story with Nigel. We backed him a million times, we gave up on him, and he's won. Always been a really strong driver, such a solid ball striker. Struggles on the green, so that 100-foot two-putt that you mentioned was a real test of character for him. Laguna National, an ideal track. Form figures for Mansell on that course of 6-11-1 now. So plenty of people would have taken the 50-1 because his course form was so amazing. And he's got the monkey off his back. As you mentioned, he's 29, so he's a month till his 30th birthday, Dave. He turns 30 in a month's time. So, lovely for Mansell to approach his 30s with a lighter load. And that first win's always the most difficult. I expect him to win again.
Yeah, and we had a draw bias klaxon last week. We should have one for a new caddy. as well, because he mentioned he had a new caddy. And I always feel,
Yeah.
a player like him, he's 29, he's won his first event, and he says no caddy. How must the old caddy feel?
Yeah, it was all your fault, mate.
He was
That's
holding me
what I
back
call.
all these years.
Yeah, well, I hope the old caddy's not watching and feels bad, because it's amazing how often a caddy switch can improve results. We've seen it with you talk about the new manager bounce, don't they, in football?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new manager bounce. The new manager comes in and suddenly results lift. I think caddies can have a similar effect. Just a different approach. So yeah, all credit to the new caddy. All credit to Mansell. And I was just pleased Kaito Nakajima didn't win, Dave, because obviously we talked about him last week as being
Yeah.
the last name off the list. He hadn't played for a while, which was the reason we left him off. Mansell's two putt there, the birdie of the last, just pipped Kaito Nakajima, which was great relief. And then we can spend another hour of this broadcast talking about Tom McKibben if you'd like.
Yes, I would like to. Now, you mentioned at the top of the show only 54 holes. Talk us through that, and then we'll talk McKibben.
Yeah. There was, it was a waterlogged course. There was like monsoon conditions at the start of the week, and Thursday's play completely wiped out. And then the greenkeepers did a great job to get the course going, and we started on Friday. They didn't go into the Monday for some reason. We'll talk about that later. I mean, I just don't understand why the Monday finish seems to have gone out of fashion, and it cost us dear, really, because we had players in position to strike, and particularly Tom McKibben. Tom McKibben ended up tied for third place in the end. A real roller coaster ride through the night for his followers. He teed off at 1:59 a.m. on Sunday morning. I was up all night, Dave, following the scores, because we went away for the weekend to visit my wife's friend. She's just had a new baby, my wife's friend. So we've got this little cabin near Stansted Airport. I didn't realise quite how close it was to Stansted Airport until we got there. Basically, had aeroplanes flying over the cabin from just 100 metres above. Like, so every so often, so regularly, a jumbo jet
walls
just
were
flying.
shaking and everything.
Yeah, it was incredible. They were so low. I didn't realise that planes were allowed to fly that low to the ground. So you had that waking us up every.
How do you think they land? How do you think they land?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I've never been that close to a plane. And so that was keeping me awake all night. And then my son fell ill that night as well. We'd had a curry in the evening. I don't know whether the curry was to blame. So he was puking up every sort of 45 minutes. And then a plane was going over every sort of 45 minutes. So even if I didn't want to stay up all night watching Tom McKibben on the scores, I would have had to. So so I followed every single shot, and it was a real roller coaster ride. Through 11 holes, Dave, he looked the likely champion. He was warming the engines nicely. I thought he was going to win after 11 holes, and then he went 5-5-6 through holes 12 to 14. So that was a real test of character. About 5:30 a.m. at that point, Tommy Palmer's puking in the corner. Tommy McKibben's throwing up bogeys on the Laguna National. My daughter's got emetophobia, so she's hysterical just watching it all unfold. She was in a terrible state watching it all unfold. So real test of character. But McKibben, he rallied a bit at the end, but he ended up 2 shots behind. But this 54-hole business, with 2 shots behind with another 18 holes to play, you'd fancy McKibben from there. And then we had our other players just outside the places. You had Alejandro Del Rey, you had Wenyi Ding. They were both tied 14th. Hugo Casal tied 20th. So I feel like a return would have been better if they played another 18 holes, but they just can't be bothered anymore, can they? The course was ready for another 18 holes, Dave.
What is the reason? Why is there any official reason? Players got to get removed from the next tournament. What?
Well, I mean, it's 6 hours to get from Singapore to India. So obviously we've got Indian Open this week. So the players, it's a bit inconvenient for the players, but it's more the sponsors. The sponsors want their tournament finishing on Sunday so they can, do all the wraps. Monday finishes. No one's watching on a Monday apart from us. The hardcore. So that's why they seem to have gone out of fashion. But it was a shame.
Yeah, I think the only people watching on a Monday are people who have had a bet that have probably got players in the frame, I'd imagine. I'd imagine the audience figures would nosedive. But
yeah,
you would have. I think if there was another round to play, you wouldn't have minded sort of laying Mansell for a few quid.
Yeah, It would have been very edgy from the front there, and but maybe Nakajima wouldn't have. Maybe Nakajima would have won, and I would have been heartbroken by that. So, I'm just trying to stay positive, Dave.
Yeah, do so. And how's the little man? Is he all right?
He's still off school. He's been off school the last couple of days. So I don't know whether it was the curry or what. Who knows? It's hard to tell. But he's making progress, and
I'll sound like one of the mums in the playground here, but I'll say there's loads of it going around. That's what they always say.
That's right.
My missus works in a school, so that it is just kids are just ill all year
Yeah,
round, so they're always
yeah.
ill. There's not loads of it going around, but bless
No,
him,
that's
he's
it.
on the mend. I hope he's on the mend. Anyway,
Yeah, but
any other takeaways, Steve? I mean, Nakajima. A word on him.
yeah.
This is going to be a multiple winner, isn't it?
We got a similar field this week. So any takes that I've taken,
Oh,
we can use in the Indian Open. So I'm very excited about the Indian Open. Yeah, we had so much chat about weather last week. This week, the weather god shouldn't play as big a role.
okay, right. There's maybe a clue in itself there who Steve's tipping in the Indian Open, but we'll get to that. Right, the Hov. The Hov is back. Incredible how long Victor Hovland had gone without a win for a player of his ability, Steve. He, of course, landed the Valspar. JT in the frame as well, and a host of players stacked up in behind. Bridgman, West Ham's Billy Horschel. They're all stacked up in behind, but Hovland got the job done, and it's been a while.
Well, and the price obviously astonishing. If you go back to the 2023 FedEx Cup,
Yeah.
when he was winning that, looked like the best player in the world, and then here we are. He went off when he started. When the market went up last week, he was 55-1 in the original betting, but then obviously drifted to a much bigger price because he got the supposedly bad draw. Do you remember last week we were talking about we had the draw bias klaxons out. Bookmakers were really live to the threat of this draw bias. Some dramatic market moves. We speculated whether the bookies would be on their game. I mean, they were too much on their game. Just instantly, just half the field slashed and half the field eased. Hovland went out to sort of 80-1. And then God made everyone look extremely foolish, Dave. I mean, God's in charge of the weather. Always has been, always will be. God just laughing his socks off at the reaction of punters and bookmakers to this. He decided to eliminate the draw bias. The draw bias ended up as half a shot, Dave. So, that is not remotely significant that, the weather forecast didn't play out. Everyone in the golf punting community was getting their knickers in a twist, and, that they needn't have. And then Hovland's won from the wrong side of the draw. And I mean, it was astonishing, really, because his swing's been in a terrible state, Dave.
Well, he's been messing around with his coach and everything, hasn't he?
You're absolutely right. He's been going through coaches like nobody's business. Tiger Woods back in the day was a sex addict, wasn't he, Dave? Victor Hovland was
apparently
a coach.
So. Yeah, apparently so. Yeah.
He admitted.
I can verify that, but yeah, apparently he was. Yes.
Well, and Victor Hovland, I'd say, is a coach addict. Did you know he's gone through 5 coaches? He goes through coaches quicker than Tiger goes through bedfellows. He had 5 different coaches since the FedEx Cup. So he wins the FedEx Cup. You're the best player in the world. Why do you need to change anything? He's had 5 different coaches since the FedEx Cup. It's absolutely mad. And he got himself in a real muddle. And he hadn't made a cut this year. If you look, the only weekend golf he had played this year prior to last week was in events with no cut. So he hadn't made a single cut this year. He shot an 80 at Sawgrass, first round 80 at Sawgrass. He didn't even know whether he should bother playing in the Valspar. He felt like he had no chance of winning. It's a really strange situation, this, because even now, if you speak to Hovland now, he cannot believe he's won. Obviously, great talent, and he's won despite having no confidence in his swing. He putted amazingly well, didn't he, Dave? His putting was awesome, and he hit enough good shots to win a low grade PGA Tour event. But he's still got no confidence in his swing. It's astonishing that he's managed to win that.
Well, there's a fine margin, isn't there, between trying to eke out that extra percentage and just losing the plot. Like, do you remember when Rory? I think he spent like 3 weeks locked away on a simulator tinkering around, and at that point he was flying, and he was looking for that extra couple of percent. And Hovland, I don't know what he's doing, but he's
Well,
I
he
think, what was
reacts
it?
badly when he
The
gets.
Tour Championship in 2023 was the last tournament he won, which is
Yeah,
remarkable for a player of his ability who could be so active, playing almost every week.
yeah, and he reacts badly when people say, "Oh, you're a perfectionist." He says, "I should be. I shouldn't be resting on my laurels." He feels he's not made any mistakes. Chasing improvements, improvements, improvements. But I do think when you win the FedEx Cup and you're looking like the best player on the planet, I don't think you should start dramatically overhauling your swing.
You're
So
going all right, yeah.
things are going all right, mate. I've just banked like 30 million in a couple of weeks, whatever it was. So I think he's made mistakes, and I'm still not entirely convinced. Dave, this is the funny thing about it. He's won the golf tournament, and
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, can he win the Masters?" He's back to winning ways, and I'd make him about 100 to 1 to win the Masters. I don't think he's got any chance of winning the Masters. I think this was just a sort of. I think it was an amazing putting performance that allowed him to win a low grade event, but I still think his long game's in bad shape.
Yeah, I would agree. Justin Thomas knocking on the door.
Yeah, much more encouraged by Justin Thomas going into the Masters than I am Victor Hovland. I'd be absolutely fuming with what happened. He was 3 shots ahead with 3 holes to play. I tipped him at 8 to 1 on Racing Post website on Sunday. So I thought I was going to end what was a really trying weekend on a high. I thought, oh, he's Justin Thomas 8 to 1 winner with, and then he got destroyed by the snake pit. We've talked about the snake pit last week. It's called the snake pit for a very good reason. Those last 3 holes at the Valspar are difficult. Justin Thomas just got some seriously nasty bites on there, didn't he? I don't know whether you got involved, because I know you like backing Justin Thomas.
No, I
He's
can't. Not at that sort of price. What, he was contesting favouritism, wasn't he?
well, yeah, exactly.
I
I mean,
just
he
can't.
should definitely have been favourite. Remember we were talking last week about a 15-time PGA Tour champion jostling for favouritism with a PGA Tour maiden in Tommy Fleetwood. So, I probably would have been. Well, it would have been very interesting backing Justin Thomas at that price if he got on the right side of the draw. But again, he got the no chance draw, the draw by Claxon, and probably wasn't as well backed as he should have been. But I backed him at 8 to 1 on Sunday, and I was counting my money, and golf, bloody hell.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, sort of negatives for Hovland, but I mean, the way he finished was impressive.
Yeah. Hovland held the key putts at the right time. Thomas made a couple of bad drives. That's the problem Thomas has got. His driver is still a little bit loose. It was the driving in the snake pit which cost him. But yeah, we're keeping a close eye on Justin Thomas. If he can recover mentally from this setback, and they dragged him out in front of the cameras. I don't know if you noticed that. Justin Thomas being very proactive with the rest of the golfing community, saying we've got to do more. We've got to do more. We've got to be mic'd up for stuff, and like Scotty
Yeah, but
Scheffler's going, no.
I like his reaction in that he's not, his head's not gone down. Like he's enjoying trying to win golf tournaments, and that's the sort of player that you want to be backing, I think.
Yeah, and it was impressive what he did there coming out, because a lot of players like Rory McIlroy ran off after the US Open, didn't he? And Scotty Scheffler doesn't like being wired up for stuff. A lot of the big names don't like all that business, but if we're going to grow the game and get the PGA Tour pumping again, we have to do what Justin Thomas did. Yeah, that was a horrifically bad setback, those final 3 holes. Yeah, he comes out and faced the media, and yeah, I was impressed by that. And as I say, he's much more on my radar than Victor Hovland going forward.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Justin Thomas going too much longer without winning a golf tournament. Any other players to take away from the event, Steve?
Well, I thought you'd just be waxing lyrical about Billy Horschel. I mean, you probably...
Oh my! Did you see that left-handed shot? That was
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I think you've got a poster of that on your wall now, haven't you?
Well, they call it an
Left-handed.
inverted 9 iron. I mean, that was just a remarkable shot, though, wasn't it? I mean, it's just showing
It
off.
reminds me of Top Gun, the second best film ever made. We were inverted. Yeah, Top Gun. What a film. But yeah, if people don't know what we're talking about, Billy Horschel hit a shot left-handed with a right-handed club. So it's really difficult. It's from 127 yards, wasn't it, Dave? So it's a really
Yeah.
amazing shot to find the green from 127 yards, because he's beyond, he can't get a stance with the tree right next to him, so he's played left-handed. But then to put icing on the cake, he's hold the putt. So
Hold the part. It was incredible.
yeah, so find it on the YouTube or wherever you look for these things. Billy Horschel did well. Yeah. Pat on the back for Billy Horschel. Andrew Novak, very disappointing, because he made a birdie start in the final round and was right in the thick of things. Had every chance of winning for us. Andrew Novak from the wrong side of the draw. But unfortunately, he was 6 over par from there. So he made 2 birdies to start, didn't make another birdie after that. and dropped away. So yeah, disappointing effort.
Right, shall we get stuck into this week's action then, Steve? I know you like to go chronological, so I'm going to start with the Indian Open, and tell us where we are and what the course is like here. This is the second leg of the Asian Tour, Singapore to India. What are we looking at here?
It's the signature course, DLF Golf and Country Club, New Delhi, India. 7,416 yards, par 72, 4 par 5s, a Gary Player design. Has hosted this event in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2023 and last year. Also hosted an Asian Tour event just last month. Very unusual layout. Loads of serious trouble spots. Really undulating greens. You see some really colourful scorecards here. There'll be plenty of birdies, but lots of doubles and triples and worse. We've got sunny, hot weather, light to moderate breezes, a field of 138 going to post. Place your bets by 1:30 a.m. on Wednesday night, Dave.
Yeah,
I know you'll still be on the dance floors of the Romford nightclubs by then, but make sure you get your bets on before then.
Okay, in my very limited research into this one, Steve, I've come up with narrow fairways. Will you concur with that?
Well, it's narrow fairways, but quirky fairways. Humps and hollows and water in weird places. This course has come from the brain of Gary Player. He's very proud of it, but there's a lot of people think it's borderline crazy golf, and it's so unusual. I'd say staying out of trouble is the key to success here. Keeping those big numbers off your scorecard, and there's certain players that seem to like it.
Yeah, I think Eddie Pepperell famously described this course as designed by Satan. If you're interested in just how difficult it is, right? The market then, your man Nakajima is as big as 18-1 at the moment. At the time of recording on this Tuesday morning, then we've got Luton at 25s, Jordan 25s, and a whole host of players at 28s and 33. So nice feel to the market, 18-1. The field here, one open contest. How many in the team?
Got 5 selections for this, and then we've only got 3 in the PGA Tour event.
Okay, right. 5 often means that you like the look of it, Stephen. You fancy it, right? We're confident?
I do fancy it. Yeah. As I say, the weather gods are not disturbing me as much as they were at this time last week.
Right, okay. So first of the 5, and the best bet for the Indian Open is?
Keita Nakajima! You've already mentioned 18-1. Get that 18-1 if you can. I think he's going to settle as a 16-1 chance in this market. We can't ignore his claims this time. The only reason we left him out last week was the fact that he hadn't competed since the Qatar Masters. The Qatar Masters finished on February 9th. So Keita gave himself a really long break, working on his body, I guess, working on his mind. His comeback could not have been more impressive. 67, 69, 65, second place. Dropped only 2 shots all week, bogey free on Sunday, topped the greens in regulation stats on Sunday. He had a cold putter in round 1, Dave. He had a chilly putter in round 3 and still finished only 1 shot off the lead. He was the best player from tee to green last week. Last year, on his Indian Open debut, he putted superbly, fell in love with the DLF greens, so expect a better putting performance this week. He was 14 under par through 2 rounds last year. He turned the event into a procession, Dave. 65, 65, 68. 4-shot lead at that stage. Kicked further clear in the final round. Went 9 shots clear, Dave. And then he was 4 over par for his final 5 holes and won by 4 shots. So he just did what he needed to do over those final holes. Just percentage golf. Doesn't matter if you win by 9 or win by 4. Just make sure you win. So an emphatic victory from a former world number 1 amateur, realising his potential. He's won 4 times on the Japan Tour. I think a second DP World Tour title is coming on Sunday. He's 24 years of old. 24 years of old, Dave. So I'm so tired from that weekend. He's got the world at his feet, this lad.
He has indeed. Big as 18s out there. Would your advice be just get as many places as possible here? Because this guy's going to be right in the mix.
Yeah, because we're going to get 4 rounds. I'd be very surprised if he's not. We had 4 players in the top 20 last week. I can't see many of my players being outside the top 20 this week as well, Dave. I don't want to be overconfident, but Get as many plays. It's all personal preference, isn't it? You could play court with a 5. Court with a 5. I've played court with a 5 because I don't want to play a 50 odds because I fancy he's comfortably going to get in the top 5. But there's many ways to skin these cats, Dave.
There is. One layer out there is going 10 places, but the price is not as big. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but shop around, right? Shop around. That is the name of the game. So that is the main selection then for the Indian Open. Who's the next best?
Gavin Green. 45-1 Gavin Green, who relishes the quirky dimensions of the DLF. Green finished second in the 2017 Indian Open here, 16th in 2018, 8th in 2023, despite starting that year with 4 consecutive missed cuts. He was 5th last year, despite arriving with some dodgy recent form behind him. So no matter what the state of Green's game when he tees up here, he gets himself into the mix. He's a Malaysian, entirely comfortable on these grainy greens. He won on the Asian Tour in 2017. He's contended on the DP World Tour numerous times. Maybe finally, at the age of 31, we might see him make his breakthrough this week. He's been hinting at a return to form. He was 20th in Singapore last week, 3 under par rounds, and on Sunday he struck his ball really well. So I'm really excited about the chances of Gavin Green.
Yeah, big price as well. 45-1 is out there. Who else, Steve?
Shubhankar Sharma, 55-1, the pride of India. A 2-time DP World Tour champion, prolific winner on the Indian Tour early in his career, and a player who knows the DLF as well as anyone in the field. This was his practice base for many years, Dave. He knows where the danger is. He knows where to miss. He can manage his golf ball at the DLF. I remember he teed up in the 2018 Indian Open, straight after contending in the WGC Mexico Championship. He was absolutely knackered when he started that event. He slumped to 5 over par through 9 holes. The following day, after a good night's kip, carded a course record 64, went on to finish 7th. He was 13th in 2023. This year, he started in poor form. He was struggling to make a cut on the DP World Tour. He finished 48th in that Asian Tour event I mentioned at this track in February. So that's a decent effort when that was the only cut he made in January and February. But his last 3 starts, he's hinting at a return to form. He was solid in Singapore last week on a really unsuitable track. So, number 3 pick, Shubhankar.
A reminder of his name there, Steve. I can feel producer Ben with his head in his hands already trying to work out the spelling.
Shubhankar Sharma.
Okay, that's 3 down. 2 more to go then. Hopefully we've got some nice big prices coming up here, Steve. Who else
they're all mid-range prices. It's a viable staking plan. The number 4 selection is Ugo Casal, or Ugo Kosu, as some sweet spot commentors have been suggesting we switch to. I'm more than happy to switch to that if it makes people happy. So Ugo Kosu is a winner waiting to happen. He teased us rotten again last week. His form figures from his last 3 DP World Tour starts are 11, 25, 20. Loads of triple bogeys in that run, making loads of birdies. And he was threatening in high-class company in the second half of last year. It's worth remembering that. He was 7th in the BMW PGA at Wentworth, 6th in the Abu Dhabi Championship. So I think he's going to win soon. I know I've been saying it for a while now. Why won't it come in the Indian Open? His Challenge Tour victory came in India in the spring of 2023. Maybe his DP World Tour breakthrough will come in India in the spring of 2025. He shot 65 at the DLF last year. I'm expecting more of the same this time.
Okay, I like the logic. We're in the same country. India's quite a big place, though. I'm assuming this wasn't at the same course.
No, I want the same course. But similar conditions, similar grainy greens, similar sweltering heat. I mean, the first day this week, you're going to have very sweaty pants after the first day. They might need to change pants mid-round. It's going to be so hot. And then it eases up a little bit from there.
Right, trivia. Someone in the comments can answer this. How many golf courses are there in India?
Oh, blimmin' heck.
It's got to be quite a few, isn't there?
Did you say someone in the comments section's asked this?
No, that's me asking it.
You've asked that. I've no idea, mate. You tell me.
It'll be out there. On the internet, it'll be out there.
You haven't even got the
How big is golf? How big is golf in India?
This is a great quiz, isn't it? You asked a quiz.
How big is golf in India?
Well, Well, India's a very funny country, isn't it? You got loads of rich people in India, sending people to the moon, and then you've got millions of poor people. Like the rich poor divide in India is pretty messed up, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose the rich people play on the golf courses, and yeah. I don't know, Dave. You're asking me some really tough questions today for a man who didn't
Okay.
sleep the entire weekend.
Right, there we go. Right, well, yeah, maybe I'll go away and look at the growth
Yeah,
of
you
golf
go
in
away.
India
That's what the
in my
internet's
spare
for.
time. Right, we've got one more player right in the team, haven't we, for the Indian Open? Who's it going to be?
We have got one more player, and it was tough getting to 5. I mean, it's a really tough event, this. Eugenio Chikara was so close to selection. Joshua Berry was so close to selection. I think Chikara is about 33 to 1 now. Berry, I see, opened up at 100 to 1. I think a lot of people will be interested in that. Chikara finished 5th in that Asian Tour event last month I was talking about. Berry has been in sensational form in India on the Challenge Tour over the last fortnight. He's been in 2 playoffs and won one of them.
He's ripe.
But
He's ripe.
He's right, Dave. Yeah, but if you want 7, have 7. Some people don't mind having loads. I like to have more significant stakes on less. I don't like going more than 5 unless I really have to. But yeah, the 5th selection is Sam Bairstow, who is 33 to 1. Another winner waiting to happen. It's like Ugo Kasu and Sam Bairstow. They're both, they're going to win a DP World Tour event at some time. This one looks a viable option. Top class amateur, won on the Challenge Tour in 2023, threatened on the DP World Tour last year. He was 3rd in Singapore, 6th in the ISCO Championship, 2nd in the French Open. He was 13th in the Indian Open. That was his Indian Open debut. He was 7th after 3 rounds. This year, warming up the engines nicely. He's already posted 4 top 20s. He made 8 birdies in Singapore on Sunday. I'm certain that more birdies are coming in India. So yeah, we got the favourite and 4 mid-range ones there, Dave. If you want a bigger price, then chance Joshua Berry, but he's only 19, and he must be a little bit jaded after 2 weeks. 2 playoffs in 2 weeks, but he looks a hell of a player.
Good stuff. Listen, plenty in there. I'm all over the fav here. I'm not often I like favourites in golf tournaments, but Nakajima, I'm all in. I'm all in,
Yeah.
Steve. So
Well, he's a lot bigger price than the fav in the event we're coming to now.
Yes. Reminder of the place your bets for the Indian Open there, Steve.
1:30 a.m. on Wednesday night, stroke Thursday morning, however you want to bill it.
Will you be up covering? How do you do it, Steve? Honestly, you've got young kids as well like me. It's impossible, surely.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have done it on that Saturday night, Sunday morning, had there not been drama in that cabin, But
Okay.
if you're awake anyway, you might as well,
Yeah,
ain't you? I probably
I'll
would
get
have
that.
got up about 4 o'clock in the morning to see McKibben down the stretch, but yeah, I went through the whole night and then had to drive from around Stansted Airport back to Weymouth, which was a real challenge, as you can imagine. So yeah, I'm flagging, Dave, but feeling confident.
Okay, well, let's hope you are, because we have got the Houston Open to tackle as well. And I started scrolling through the betting here, Steve, and I thought, wow, this is going to be some field here. We've got the Chef and Rory, but it didn't feel that deep afterwards, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some interesting scheduling decisions, isn't there? We'll come to those 2 market leaders at the end. I'm not tipping either of them. Scheffler obviously lives close to this area, so that's why he's there. But yeah, and Rory just fancies one more outing before the Masters, which obviously gets him very twitchy.
Right, it is the Houston Open. Where are we, Stephen? What sort of course are we looking at?
Memorial Park Golf Course, Houston, Texas, 7,475 yards, par 70, 3 par 5s, 10 par 4s, 5 par 3s. Memorial Park has hosted the Houston Open since 2020. It was a November event in 2020, 2021, and 2022. There was no Houston Open in 2023, and then it became a March event again last year. Generous fairways. It's a second shot course, I think it's fair to say. Extremely slopey greens, so accurate approaches, finding the right sections of these greens, and then sharp putting and scrambling are the keys to success. I mean, it's a similar setup to Augusta, which is why those 2 guys probably like this prep. It's decent Augusta prep, I'd say. We've got moderate breezes for the first 3 days, calmer on Sunday, a field of 144 going to post.
Okay, and among my research, which was quite limited and unverified, Brooks Koepka assisting in the design of this course as well, reducing the number of bunkers. Is that right?
That's it. Yeah, Brooks Koepka, when he was world number one, I believe, was the consultant that they used to, when they were designing this course. And it's an interesting course. You got a couple of drivable par fours. Lots of short.
More runoffs than
Yes,
bunkers.
yeah, runoffs around the greens. I mean, this is a municipal course, so the runoffs around the greens help the amateurs because a lot of amateurs struggle with their chipping, don't they? So they can putt from off the green, and then obviously for the professionals, gives them much more options for fancy shots around the green. So it's a very well designed course. Yeah, I give credit to Mr. Doak, who was the main designer, and Brooks Koepka gave a little bit of help.
I don't struggle with my chipping now, Steve. I must be watching too much golf on YouTube and social media. You know, the algorithms get hold of you. And the other day, I found myself being given a chipping masterclass by Jesper Parnevik. It was so random.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. No,
It's
he's
all
a
out there.
blast from the
Enhance
past.
your
Yeah.
game.
Oh, I'm glad your chipping's going well, Dave. Yeah.
It is. We need to get back out on the course, but we'll tackle that at a later date.
Still not
Because the
played this
sun's
year.
out now.
I still haven't played a round of golf this year. Yeah, the sun's out. The arthritis is throbbing, and I haven't played this year. But don't worry, I'll get out there before Christmas.
We'll loosen you up. Right. Listen, the market here is, I think, 4-1 the field. Is a bit of 9-2 for the chef. Rory's as big as 7 in a place, and then there's a yawning gap back to a whole field of players at sort of 28s, 33s. The big 2 in the market. You mentioned you're putting up 3 for this one, Steve, right?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to guess that you are avoiding the front 2 in the market, but who knows? All will be revealed very shortly. Who is the main selection then?
Davis Thompson, 35-1 available. Davis Thompson, who ended his Florida swing in fine style, finished 10th in the Players' Championship. All 4 rounds were of par or better. That's by far his best effort ever at Sawgrass. He's got a bad record in Florida generally, so it was a performance that was greatly encouraging for Thompson fans. I'm emphatically one of those Thompson fans. Yeah, we're talking about another former world number 1 amateur here, Dave. Yeah, so both headline selections, former world number 1 amateurs. If they both win on Sunday, we'll all be getting our shirts on and our hoodies. He won on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2022. He finished 9th in the US Open last year. Then he won a maiden PGA Tour title in the John Deere Classic. You might remember it was a 4-shot romp. He broke the 72-hole scoring record. We were on him for that, Dave. He was just showcasing his enormous talent. So we were on him for the John Deere win. Then the next time we were on him was the Shriners Children's Open in October. Another one that you must remember, Dave, because it was a huge draw bias. I mean, the draw bias klaxon was a false warning, fake news. It's fake news. The draw bias klaxon didn't need to come out last week, but it should have come out before the Shriners Children's Open. Thompson was on the wrong side of a huge draw bias, but he finished 5th, controlled his ball superbly in the strong winds. We got 3 breezy days coming in Texas this week. I think Thompson may handle it better than anyone. He's been inconsistent this year, but his good stuff has been absolutely spectacular. He was 20 under par for the final 3 rounds of the Century, first event of the year. Nobody outscored him in the second round of the Genesis Invitational. He finished 13th in the Genesis. I think he's going to put it all together this week. His Houston Open form figures, 43-21. I expect further progression. Only 5 players outscored Thompson in the final round of last year's Houston Open.
Right, he's the nap. Who's the next best?
Davis Riley. There's been some understandable money for him. I think there's still 100-1 out there as we record this on Tuesday morning. 100-1 Davis Riley really excites me. We're going to get Davis 1-2 this week, Dave. Davis Thompson first, Davis Riley second. Get on the Davis Dual forecast if you can find a bookmaker brave enough to offer you a proper price on that. One of the 5 players who outscored Thompson in the final round of last year's Houston Open was Davis Riley. Riley closed with a 65. He opened with a 65 last year too. Finished the event in 14th place. That result came after a terrible run of form. He started last year abysmally, got himself going at Memorial Park. 2 months later, won the Charles Schwab Challenge That was his maiden PGA Tour title as an individual. He won the 2023 Zurich Classic Pairs event, of course. The Charles Schwab victory was by a 5-shot margin, and it was in Texas, of course, Colonial. So getting back to the Lone Star State, Dave, bring back all sorts of happy memories for Riley. The second of his 2 Corn Ferry Tour wins came in Texas. So the vibes are extremely good for Riley this week. And he is a real viber. He's wildly inconsistent, this lad. Mercurial talent. When he's in the mood, he's one of the best players in the world. All right, he's got a textbook swing. And he everyone knows I love Davis Riley. When his A game is as good as anyone's, but when he's not feeling good, he can run up a cricket score. But the last 3 starts really encouraging. He was 6th in the Puerto Rico Open, Dave, 38th in the Players' Championship, 7th in the Valspar on Sunday. You were probably keeping an eye on him on Sunday. He had a double bogey in round 1 last week. He had a double bogey in round 4. He was the 61st best putter in the field, yet he finished 7th. So get your head around all that, Dave. What you're probably thinking is, blimey, his approach play must have been amazing. And you're absolutely right. His irons and his wedges were incredible last week. If his putter warms up in Houston, then the rest of the field have a problem, though.
I was just looking, as you were talking there, the 100 is still out there. 5 places quarter the odds that the 100 to 1 is still out there. Right, we've got one more pick, Steve. Who else?
Well, just briefly, Riley's Houston form figures, 29, 27, 14. So progressive form figures. I think he'll finish better than 14th.
Trending.
He's trending. And the final selection is Jacob Bridgman. The Bridgman. 45 to 1. We can't ignore the Bridgman any longer. I was so impressed by him last week. So often it looked like he was going to be left behind. He had some wobbles and you thought, the Bridgman is going to be left behind by your Justin Thomases, your Victor Hovlands. But the bounce back ability, the resilience, and the majestic putting stroke. I mean, you've been watching your chipping videos of Jesper Parnevik. Get some Jacob Bridgman putting videos, and it'll improve your putting. It's such a silky action, just holds everything. Victor Hovland was celebrating prematurely on Sunday night because Bridgman was playing behind him. If Bridgman had held his second shot to 18, it would have been a playoff. Stranger things have happened in this crazy game of golf. Bridgman stuck it to 12 feet, so he made a good fist of it. And he covered the snake pit in level par, so Justin Thomas would have been looking on in awe about the way Bridgman covered that snake pit. He's got a short game to die for, this lad. He's an improving 25-year-old. He's up to a career-high 70th in the world rankings. So, I'm happy to ride the hot hand in Houston. He looked good at the end of last year. I first started noticing him at the end of last year, and he's looked even better this year. His Florida swing form figures, Dave, he played in all of them. 2, 15, 53. He was over par for round 1 on his Houston debut last year, but he closed with rounds of 69, 65, 69, and finished 21st. So I want him to have a couple of days taking it easy. I mean, he's playing a lot of golf. Hopefully he's taking Monday off. Hopefully he's taking today off. If you're watching Jacob, just have another breather. This course. Just rest up, and if he's got enough energy for another title tilt, then I think he's gonna go close.
Yeah, and if it all goes wrong, Steve, you can always moonlight as a film trailer voiceover. Because, you made him sound like a superhero in theatres this summer. Bridgman.
Yeah, it'd be a good film, that, wouldn't it? The Bridgman.
How old is he?
25. Yeah, 25, and clearly improving, and he can take a lot of heart from what he did last week. Bounce back ability is a tremendous trait to have, and he looked beaten so many times, then come flying back. As punters, that's what we need as well. Golf is the most testing game for a punter. There's no sport more testing for a punter than golf, and you'll be tested like I was with the Through the Night Singapore Classic in those conditions. But I pride myself on bounce back ability, Dave, and I think I'm going to come off the canvas today and deliver.
Fortitude, that is what is required. Fortitude. Right, that is the Steve Palmer picks then for the Houston Open. We've got to talk about the big dogs then at the head of the market here. No love for the chef or Rory from yourself. Explain yourself.
I think it's a watching brief for Scheffler. He's 7-2. We know
Yep.
he loves teeing up in Texas. Yeah, Texas. He moved to Texas from an early age. It's his home state essentially, even though he wasn't born there. He's come close to winning this event before. Two-time runner-up. Probably more motivated than he normally is, given that he was so keen to win before the Masters title defense. This victory drought, if you can call it that, is ongoing. So I think he's going to be up for it, but his short game's just been so poor, isn't it? The last two starts, his putting was terrible at Bay Hill and he blamed it on the greens. His putting was terrible at Sawgrass on very, very good greens. So I can live without Scheffler at 7-2, and then McIlroy 13-2, slightly more appealing at the prices, but it's his course debut, Davey. It's his course debut, and the Masters is on his mind, isn't it? I mean, this is the time of the year where you need to. It's difficult it's so difficult for Rory McIlroy chasing that career Grand Slam. He's tried everything at this time of the year. He's played loads of golf this time of the year. He's taken some time off. He's got to Augusta early. He's got to Augusta late. He tries all these different tactics at this time of the year, and I'd imagine he's already feeling a bit twitchy. He'll just wake up, and every morning he wakes up now, he just be like, Masters. He'll wake up in disarray every morning until the final round of the Masters now.
Well, he's winning the lot this year, Steve. So it won't be
apart from that, he's got Dave Clark's backing for the calendar Grand Slam. I mean, he'd settle for completing the career Grand Slam, and you've got him down for a 2025 Slam of everything. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'll be looking forward to his interviews this week. We're assessing both of the moods of Scheffler and McIlroy. Scheffler's been very tetchy this year. Got a young son at home. He's not winning tournaments. So that I want to see Scheffler being less angry this week, and McIlroy. I have all eyes on McIlroy at this time of the year to assess his mental position.
Right, was anyone close to being on the list as well, Steve, that didn't quite make it?
Well, this is always the case, isn't it? I mean, that Indian one, Joshua Berry and Eugenio Chikara, but this one less so. No. The Indian event had a load of options, but this one, no. Don't worry about anyone who wins this. It's not going to affect.
Explain to me why Jason Day is getting so much respect in the market.
Yeah, good record in this neck of the woods. It's been an interesting career revival, isn't it? Because there's times where you sort of think he's done. Such a brittle body, so many injuries, but he just seems healthier than normal at the moment. Some people still seem to think he's got can win majors, but I don't know. I haven't backed him for a very, very long time. I wouldn't advise backing him, but I can. He's just playing consistently well, isn't he?
Okay, right, let's have a roundup of the tips then. We've got a 5 and a 3. It says 15 each way doubles if you do want to play. Let's start with the Indian Open.
Keita Nakajima, Gavin Green, Shubhankar Sharma, Sam Bairstow and Ugo Kosu.
Okay. And the Houston Open.
You happy with the new pronunciation?
Listen, it's not me that you've got to please. It's the YouTube commenters.
And the Houston Open: Davis Thompson, Davis Riley, and Jacob Bridgman.
Right, what we've got coming up, Steve? You got anything planned this week?
Hopefully get some sleep at some point. We got Mother's Day on Sunday, haven't we, Dave? Sundays in my house are normally quite intense. Golf tournaments finish on Sunday, so I'm determined to satisfy the mother who lives in my house. So that's a terrible choice of words. That's probably the last thing she wants on Mother's Day. But I'll buy her. I might buy her a nice cream tea or something. Nice cream tea.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We shall see.
Jeez, he's really pleased. Cream tea. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Just remind us again, Steve. I know you said it twice already. When we need to bet buy for both of these golf tournaments.
Yeah, 1:30 a.m. I believe on Wednesday night, and then you got a little bit more time. I think 12:30 p.m. for the Houston one. They all take off on 12:30 p.m.
Okay, well, we will be back next week. We've got Texas Open and the Miami Individual, and they both come 1 week before the Masters, right?
Yeah, Live Miami, and right. That's the last knockings, isn't it? Yeah, that's the last knockings before the Masters. Yeah. The Masters countdown is getting extremely intense now, and it's exciting. The Masters is my favourite golf tournament of the year, And as I say, I'd love to go into it with a winner or two to increase our weaponry.
I'm sure you will, Steve. And listen, we'll look forward to all of the build-up in the Racing Post as well, heading into the Masters, including the Q&A. So do get your comments into Steve. Anything you can ask him. Golf-related, punting-related, life advice, whatever you want to ask, political views, religion, the whole lot, whatever you want to go down with Steve, will be in the Q&A. Right, Steve, thank you as ever. Remember, you out there in YouTube world, to gamble responsibly, enjoy the golf, and we'll see you next week.